My first bike was a tricycle.
It was a hand-me-down from my sisters. I don't remember anything about the bike other than that it was quite small.
I have no idea. Do you know, I'm going to say rally, because it might have been a rally.
A red tricycle.
Blue. I think it was a blue bike.
It was a bike that belonged to the girl across the road that my parents painted the mudguards of to try to convince me that it was a new bike.
I'm John Clifford Hughes, to give you my full name.
Since 2001, I've been working in the charitable sector, mainly getting bicycles recycled and refurbished and providing them to people in transport poverty.
When we were teenagers, we used to build our own bikes out of bits, and we used to call them trackers, and they all had what we call cow horn handlebars. So these were really big, wide handlebars, the wider the better. At university, my wife bought me a brand new bike, and again, I was chuffed to bits. The day we got it, I cycled into university, went back out, and sadly my bike had been stolen and gone. Yeah, I was gutted. That bike had lasted me all of, what, half an hour? Something like that. And, you know,
I got a bicycle here from the DRS, but got stolen from the hostel. I locked it, but someone took it with the locks.
I don't know, they can't take it, they'll break it, won't they? I just keep them locked away, so I know about it. People steal bikes.
after that, you know, I always thought, look, there's no point buying a brand new bike. There's no point spending all that money. Quick segue, fast forward. An opportunity came up to work with a charity called Groundwork Derby in Derbyshire as a creative media officer. It meant making films, recording music. Film and music was a passion of mine. I also started songwriting. A song I'd written for the first film I made, which was the documentary about heroin abuse. And the song was called Stranger in My House.
There's a stranger in my house. I don't know you anymore. There's a face I recollect. Can't put a name to it just yet. You used to be someone I know, but you're no longer around.
Towards the end, as an organisation, and we ended up having to do more and more diverse things. One of the things I started doing was bike recycling.
This is the workshop, and these are all our donations that we've had in. These bikes, you know, they've been on their own journeys here, there, and everywhere, and then come to the end of their lives. There's still a lot of life left in them, and we can reuse these and refurbish them, give them out to people who need them. And the ones that maybe are too far gone, you know, that need to be scrapped, well, we can still use, you know, the components of them. We can still use these gears, we can still use these brake arms and use them on other bikes. So these bikes become, if you like, donor bikes.
Come into the workshop. Because we deal with donated bicycles, we are getting all sorts of different types of bicycles. So you learn something every time, or I learn something every time.
A second-hand bike that you buy hasn't been refurbished. It hasn't been checked by professional mechanics. You can't guarantee that it's going to be roadworthy.
See here? See the paint is coming off? Because the fork bent.
All our bikes have been checked by professional mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sorting my bike. Twice a week, thrice a week.
Oh, first time when I came here 1 year ago, I found the charity refugee center DRS. Somebody there introduced here for me, and they gave me a letter. I came here, then I got a bike from them free.
Asylum seeker refugee programs where we were giving away free bikes. But certainly one day we had 3 guys turn up, and there was supposed to be a 4th guy, but he wasn't to be seen. And these 3 guys turned up, and they were trying to explain something. Obviously, English wasn't their first language, so it was quite difficult to understand what they were saying. But they said the other guy was late. He was lagging behind, and it soon became apparent why he was lagging behind. Is because he struggled to walk. He had a disability. He was affected and afflicted, sadly, by polio at an early age. Which anyway, he obviously eventually turned up. We managed to get his 3 friends sorted with the bike. Then he came to him, and we got him on a bike, and he was faster than them now, so he was ahead of them. And for me, that was quite emotional, quite moving.
Yeah, this is our humble abode. Welcome. Do you want a coffee? It's intense. This grinder was sold. It's actually got 2 core wire. Creamy, yeah. Like Guinness. Here you go. It starts to separate back out again, looking more like Guinness. But I assure you it's not. It's coffee. That set me up for the day.
Several years ago, we ran a project working with a housing charity called Deventure, and we set up a cycle repairs club for homeless people. And it was interesting that we had to run this club between the hours of 2 o'clock in the afternoon and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Some of them had drug and alcohol problems, and if you started the session too early, they would not make it in time. If you started it too late, they'd be back on the drugs and alcohol. So you did have this small window of opportunity, and we found that really worked well. They would build themselves a bike. We also didn't just ask them to build 1 bike, we asked them to build 2 bikes. And the second bike would come to us. So they'd be actually riding a bike for somebody else, so they were actually contributing to society. And that was, I think, quite an important element of that project, that they were able to actually, even being homeless, even with drug and alcohol problems, they were actually able to contribute in a meaningful way back to society.
While I was in jail, I built bikes, repaired bikes, I broke down bikes, all sorts.
There we were, we'd established a connection and a partnership with HMP Stockton, the prison. They trained the prisoners up to achieve a nationally recognised accredited qualification in cycle mechanics, a City and Guilds level 2.
I decided to take on the course. I'd done the course, I passed the course. After that, I ended up in the open prison.
Guys in those prisons allowed out on day release, and his day release was spent with us as a volunteer.
First of all, I thought, wow, what have I got myself into?
A bit like a rabbit in the headlights, it was a shock to their system.
And I met John there. John's a good guy, we got on well. He was just great, he was a good guy, especially when he used to take his guitar out and start singing.
If a prisoner comes out of prison and doesn't get employed and goes back to the life where they came from, the chances are they're going to reoffend.
Yes, a lot of them have. A lot of them have gone back the same ways, but it's life, innit?
He was released straight into employment, and to this day, he now runs his own business.
Yeah, I've got a body shop, I'm repairing cars, mechanic, you name it, we do it. Well, to be honest, anything can be fixed as long as you take the right approach to it. It's the knowledge that you have in your head. Knowledge takes a lot of impact.
Come on, eat something now after shooting.
We've done a few funded work to help asylum seekers and refugees. An asylum seeker, as compared to a refugee, doesn't have license to live in this country. They're awaiting for a Home Office decision to prove their license to live and work in this country. Until they get that, they're not allowed to work, they're not allowed to earn money.
My name's Steve Cook, and I work with the charity here called Derbyshire Refugee Solidarity. And it is a charity that helps support people who are seeking a place of refuge in the world who have come to the UK, so asylum seekers. I can comment on a lot of asylum seekers that tell me that having two wheels, having a bike, brings a completely new dimension to their lives here in Derby. I first met John 4 or 5 years ago, perhaps, at the charity called Bike Back, part of Life Cycle UK. And that was at a time when we were having donations of bikes here at DRS.
Things go wrong with the bike occasionally. You need to be able to fix it. What we did was we set up a satellite operation with Derbyshire Refugee Solidarity Group, and we called it the Bike Kitchen.
I've been writing this poem 8 years, and I've never quite finished it. The forbidden love between a Palestinian and an Israeli. It's called Gaza. Eyes locked, gun cocked. They came from the wrong side of the road. Gaze fixed. Time ticks. They came from the wrong side of the road. It's about the divide in the Gaza Strip. But that's a bit of a song. That is complete, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa. No, I don't, I'm afraid. Long since lost track of that bike.
Because it was on the motorway. I think what happened, the wind had just caught it and it just, well, I don't know.
I have no idea what happened to it. I would imagine that it was passed on to someone else, and maybe they painted something else when they passed it on.
It's a bicycle. It is also. It's your bicycle, and you have grown with it. It's a bicycle. You know it well. All it wants is a little air inside, an adventure outside. On the very day you broke your knee, it got a dent.
They were entwined like partners in crime, like true friends.
You maxed the speed to be with the flow, to get a chance to see the one. You drove it fast and sometimes slow. Give it a good glance. Just like others, it too deserves a second chance. Ride it, share it, or donate it. It still has stories to tell. So let it be heard. Go. Ring a bell.